today in this video, we are going to see the sums on averages. We have discussed the concept of averages, mixtures and alligations in the previous video. So once you complete watching the previous video, make sure you come to this and look at the questions and how do we solve it. So let's start with the first question. What does it say? You have A to E received 100, 120, 140, 160, 180 books, each of them. What is the average number of books? Okay, you have 5 people and they have got 100, 120, 140, 160 and 180 books with them. They are asking you what is the average. Now in the previous video we have seen whenever your difference is constant, the middle term is your average. So in this case your middle term is 140, that directly becomes your average. So your first answer or first average is 140. You don't need to add everything and divide by 5. That is not required. You can directly take the middle term as your answer. So this is done. Now let's look at the next question. What is the average if each gets 10 more books? If everybody gets 10 more books, understand this will become 110, this will become 130, this will become 150, this will become 170, this will become 190. So if everybody gets 10 books, your average also increases by 10. As simple as that. So your new average becomes 150. That's your answer. Okay? So this is your second question. See the third one. What is the average if the number of books are halved with each? If you half each, हर एक का books half कर दिया, so that is this becomes 50, this becomes 60, this becomes 70 and so on. What is the new average? So your new average will be half of the original average. So original average was 140, you will divide it by 2. So your new average is 70. Okay? So this shortens your time, it reduces your time and you can solve the sum really quickly. Now let's look at the next problem. What does it say? The average weight of a group is 30 kgs. Okay? Average weight of a group is 30 kgs. After one more person joins weighing 62 kgs, the average of the group increases by 2. So one more person got added, the average increased by 2 kgs. Find the original number of people. So initially, before this person joined, how many people were there? I'll tell you 2 methods to solve this problem. Let's go by the manual method first. Okay? Suppose if I assume initially the number of people were X. Initially the number of people were X. The average was 30 kgs. Okay? If I ask you what is the sum? How do you calculate the sum? Your sum is the average into number of people. So the average was 30, number of people were X, so your sum becomes 30x. Okay? So your initial sum was 30x. Okay? One more person got added whose weight was 62 kgs. So one more person got added whose weight was 62. So this is your total sum upon total number of people. Now my number of people will be X plus 1. Why? Because initially X the, one person got added, so it became X plus 1. Because of this, the average increased by 2. Initially the average was 30, now the average is 32 kgs. Now we'll cross multiply and get the value. So this will be 32x plus 32 is equal to 30x plus 62. So 32 minus 30 will become x is equal to, 2x, and this will be 62 minus 32, which is 30. So your x ka value will be 15. So that means initially we had 15 people in the group. This is the manual approach to solve the problem. But let's try to do it orally. Try to understand. Huh? I had certain people whose average was 30. So let's say whatever people I had, everybody's age was 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30. I distribute 30 across everybody. Okay? Now one more person was added whose weight was 62 kgs. देखो अगर उसका weight 30 होता, let's say I had 10 people, everybody's weight was 30. If one more person would have been added and अगर उसका भी weight 30 होता, then my average would have been 30 only. But because his weight was 62, my average increased. ठीक है? So by how much was his weight more? See, everybody's average was 30. His weight was 62. So he was 32 more than the average. Correct? He was 32 more than the average. Right? 32 extra hai hamare paas. Now what happened? The average of the group increases by 2 kgs. Now imagine I am giving 2 kg, 2 kg, 2 kg, 2 kg, 2 kg extra to everybody. So how much extra did I give? I gave 32 kgs extra because that was the extra part. So I'm giving 2 kg, 2 kg, 2 kg, 2 kg to every person. So to how many people am I going to give? 32 kg is going to be divided by giving 2 kg to every person. So that means I am distributing 2 kgs to 16 people. So right now I have 16 people. So before this person joined, I had 15 people and that is my answer. Hence your answer is 15. So if you understand the concept, you can do it orally also. Now let's look at the next question. What does it say? Average age of a couple when they got married was 30 years. So when they got married, it was 30. 3 years later, a child was born. After 3 years, a child is born. The present average age of all is 34. So average age of all of them is 34. Find the present age of the child. Today, what is the child's age? That is the question. So let's talk about the earlier part when they got married. So that time, the average was 30 years. So that means your husband plus wife upon 2. Let's say husband's present age is H, wife is W. The average was 30 years. So can I say husband plus wife will be 60. Okay? It becomes 60. The sum is 60. 3 years later, a child was born. So imagine after 3 years, everybody's age will increase by 3. So husband ka age will be H plus 3. Wife ka age will be W plus 3. So if I add the child ka age will be 0 because he is just born. So if I ask you what is the total sum, that will be husband plus wife, which is 60, plus these 3's. So your total sum would be 66. Okay, 3 years later the sum was 66. Now they are saying the present average age of all is 34 years. Now this is after how many years? We don't know. See, let's say after X years from the time the child was born. Okay? See, when the child was born, the sum was 66. उसके बाद X years हो गया, then their average is 34. Now उसके बाद अगर X years हो गया, can I say the husband का age will increase by X years? Wife का age will increase by X years? And the child का age will also increase by X years. So initially in this case your child का age was 0. So we are saying X years from the moment child was born. So you can also take this to be a 0. That time child was born and since then it has been X years till today. जब वो पैदा हुआ उसके बाद आज तक X years हो गया. So child का age is X. Correct? So we have to find the value of X. Upon 3, because we have 3 people, the average is 34. Correct? So your husband plus wife here we know is going to be 66 plus 3x. Okay? Upon 3 is equal to 34. Correct? Now what I can do is I can divide 3 for both. So 66 upon 3 will be 22 plus 3x upon 3 will be x is equal to 34. So your value of x will be 34 minus 22, which is 12 years. So the child today is of 12 years. Okay? Because what is x? X is the number of years from the time the child was born. Okay? So your answer is 12 years. Now let's look at the next question. The height of 5 different buildings are, so these are the 5 different building ka heights. They are asking you, what is the average height? Okay, what is the average height? Now you must be wondering, it's a simple question. How do you calculate the average? Add everything, divide by number of terms. So why have we taken this problem here? I'll tell you a different method to calculate the average. Slightly easier. Okay? Observe the numbers very carefully. ठीक है, 1093, 1103, 1109, 1089, 1096. ठीक है. Rather than dividing it normally, adding and dividing it, I would ask you to pick any random number which is close to all of them. Take any number which is close to all of them. Let's say I pick 1100. Okay? You can take any number, does not matter. Just make sure it is close to all of them. I have picked 1100. Now I will find the relation of 1100 with each of these numbers. Say for example, 1093 is 7 less than this number. So I will subtract 7. 1103 is 3 more. So I will add 3. This is 9 more. So I will add 9. This is 11 less. So minus 11. And this is 4 less. So I will subtract 4. I will divide this by my number of buildings, and my number of buildings are 5. See, calculating this is very easy. That is the reason I have taken a standard number, any number, and found out the relation with every other number. So your answer will be 1103. Minus 7 plus 3 is minus 4. Minus 4 plus 9 is 5. 5 minus 11 is minus 6. Minus 6 minus 4 is minus 10. So this will be minus 10 upon 5. So this will be 1100 minus 2. So 100 minus 2 is 98. So your answer will be 1098. This is your average. So what does this do? It simplifies your calculations. So you can use this method. Let's look at the next question. What does it say? In a class there are two sections X and Y. The average marks by X are 30 and Y are 40. Okay? If the number of students are in the ratio 2:3, what is the average of the whole class? What is the average of the whole class? Now this problem can be done by the weighted average method. It can also be done by the alligation method. So for the alligation method, you can refer to the alligation video. Here we are going to solve the sum by the weighted average method. Now what are they saying? The students are given in the ratio 2:3. Okay? So let's say for X and Y, if the number of students in X are 2X, the number of students in Y will be 3X. Okay? 2X and 3X, because the ratio is given. They're asking you what is the average of the entire class. So how do you calculate that? It will be the number of students into average of X plus number of students in the second into average Y upon the total number of students N1 plus N2. So number of students are 2X and your average is 30. Similarly, here the number of students are 3X and your average is 40. Upon total number of students, which is 2X plus 3X. So this will be 60X, this will be 120X. 60 plus 120 will give you 180X upon 5X. XX will get cancelled. 180 upon 5 will give you 36. So 36 is the average of the entire class. Now let's look at the next problem. What does it say? A cricketer scored an average of 60 runs in the first 4 tests of the 5 test series. So the average was 60 in the first 4 tests. If the first is not counted, so that means if your first test is not counted and 5th is counted, average becomes 70. So instead of the first, if you count the 5th, the average becomes 70. If he scores 50 runs in the first test, how much did he score in the 5th test? Seems to be a difficult question, but believe me, it's a very simple question. See, his average was 60 runs in the first 4 tests. So let's say his first test, okay, or let's call the test as A, B, C, D, E. Okay, test 1, test 2, test 3, test 4, test 5. So if I ask you what is the sum of the first 4 tests, what is the sum? It will be the average into the number of tests. So that will become 240. Okay, this was the sum of the first 4 tests. If the first is not counted and the 5th is counted, average becomes 70. So if you don't count A and if you count E, your average is 70. So that means your B, C, D, E will be 70 into number of tests, which is 4 again. So it will become 280. Okay, it will become 280. If he scores 50 runs in the first test, so that means your value of A is 50. So from this, can I say if A is 50, my B plus C plus D will be 240 minus 50, which is 190. Okay? They're asking you how many runs did he score in the fifth test. Fifth test मतलब E में कितना score किया. You know the value of BCD is 190, correct? So this value is 190 plus E is equal to 280. So in the fifth test, he scored 280 minus 190, which is 90 runs, and that becomes your answer. So if you realize, the process is extremely simple. Let's look at one final question. What does it say? The average of 20 numbers is 0. At most means maximum, ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा. How many can be greater than 0? How many numbers can be greater than 0? Now understand, average is sum upon number of people. Correct? My average is 0, so that is equal to sum upon number of people. So they are asking you how many of them can be maximum 0. How many of them? So 0 into number of people will be 0 only. So that means my sum has to be 0. When can my sum be 0? Keeping in mind maximum have to be greater than 0. So what I can do is, let's assume I want the sum to be 0. Let's say my numbers are 1, 2, 3, 4 up to 19. Okay? 1, 2, 3, 4 up to 19. These are my 19 positive numbers. Okay? Just an example. Or rather, suppose if I tell you, let's say okay, you want maximum numbers to be positive. So what I can do is, if I want maximum, but my addition should be 0. So something has to be negative. So what will I do? I will split this as 19 and 1. 19 numbers could be positive and 1 number could be negative. Let's say the sum of first 19 numbers comes out to be x. And the 20th number, the value is minus x. So your final answer becomes 0. So maximum how many numbers can be positive? 19 numbers can be positive. 1 can balance it out and your final answer becomes 0. In this video, we have seen the sums on averages. The concepts were discussed in the previous video, and here we have seen detailed variety of sums for averages. If you want me to make videos on certain specific topics, do mention them in the comment section below. If you have certain doubts, queries as far as the sums are concerned, you can mention them as well. I'll try to answer all your queries. If you like the video, if you found it to be helpful, please do subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much.